Hello, people. Me and my little buddy here, we have finished a book. Actually, this is still a book that I read while I was on my trip, at least partially. I finished it when I got home. In the Forest of No Joy, subtitled The Congo Ocean Railroad and the Tragedy of French Colonialism. The French colony on the Congo was south of the Belgian colony. And the French perpetrated their atrocities a little bit later than the Belgians did. This was in between the wars. This was like throughout the 20s and the first 3 years of the 30s. They built a railroad. It was only 230 miles long. It was supposed to, it was supposed to save their colony and make the thing profitable so that they could ship ivory, metals, wood to the coast. And they press-ganged natives into building the railroad, into doing all the shit work. It went on for 13 years, and they estimate that 60,000 Africans died, during those 13 years building the railroad for many reasons. They marched them there, and they died on the way. They didn't have food ready. They didn't have housing ready. There was diseases. They didn't have medical care ready. Fucking boulders fell on people. They built it partially through a mountainous range, so it was pretty fucked up. The book itself was kind of like atrocity porn. The only thing I didn't like about the book is it didn't detail how the railroad was built. There was a few pictures in here. They had tunnels. They had bridges. How the fuck do you do that with hand tools? They did not detail that in this book. It was torture porn. There was something in here. I'm going to get to my notes because I got to keep this short. 1920, 1933. This was a very interesting thing. The doctors that did treat the natives wrote down the symptoms that they were suffering from. And it seems like they caught AIDS there. And that's supposed to be where AIDS came from anyway. This book was 310 pages, published in 2021. I bought this at Barnes & Noble before I went out west. My last note here is dynamite up the ass. And that was one of the horror stories in the book, is some French guys were sitting around getting drunk and speculating about the effects of dynamite on an African. And at first they were going to tape it or tie it between his shoulder blades, and then they decided to use a tube to stick the dynamite up his ass. And they actually lit it and blew the guy into little pieces. Not much reading. Second paragraph, page 289. I didn't think that was that far in this book. And as usual, it starts out with a French name that I'm probably going to butcher. Marcel Sauvage found that workers shared this view of their white bosses. Workers certainly had complaints with the way Frenchmen treated them, he reported, but they have only hatred, and well-nourished hatred, for the Spanish, the Italians, the Germans, whom they perceived to be the most maladroit and ferocious colonial overlords. These jobs didn't pay great. The French knew that they were going to die of disease when they went there, so people came from all over the place, all over Europe, to work these colonies, and they got paid, and perhaps they were running from some kind of trouble. According to Sauvage, the workers were fond of saying, there's the white and there's the black, there's the monkey, and after that there's the Portuguese. And I thought that was hilarious. That's the only paragraph I'm going to read. If accurate, Sauvage's reportage suggested a point upon which African and French opinions overlapped. Workers' apparent disdain for Spaniards, Italians, and Portuguese corresponded to popular prejudices in France about Mediterranean immigrants. All white men were not the same, for the French or for their workers. And yet, of course, the Batignolles still defended these men's right to use physical force to motivate their workers. That's it. Thanks for watching. I'm having a hard time just getting access to any kind of Wi-Fi up here. And thank you for watching. And my little buddy there, he thanks you as well.